video will show you how to export data from WiredContact into Google My Maps. I just discovered Google My Maps after having a conversation with ChatGPT, asking it how to visualize data directly from Excel into a mapping program. After trying some Excel plugins for free, nothing satisfied me or my client's potential requirements. Thus, I decided to try out Google My Maps since I've never heard of it until now. Please note Google My Maps is a different application than the standard Google Maps site or mobile app that we use daily. So here's the business case to make this video for everybody. A couple of our clients needed to plot data from the CRM so they could visualize it on a map. So if a rep is driving within a territory, the rep can easily visualize who else they can see right away so their road trips are more efficient. In the past, I pitched a third-party app and I've probably sold 5 licenses in 20 years. So I wanted to find an economical solution for everyone without a client having to resort to either custom development fees or managing another vendor's plugin. Let's show you how it's done with WiredContact. Here is WiredContact. I have customized this interface a bit with my branding, colors, and fonts. Your WiredContact screen will probably look a little different. However, the menus and icons we'll use are similar across all WiredContact sites in this lesson. We're going to show you one way how to get the data out of the system that's universal among the sites we support. Then we'll get into the Google My Maps page. So after logging in, we're going to go to the Reports page over here. Then we'll click on what's called the Contact Wizard. So you'll see a star, put the cursor over that, and you will see the name of the report wizard we're going to use today. First, you're going to select a template. Instead of the default, click Export. And now what we need to do is get the fields out that we want to see on Google Maps. I'm going to get a few of them out right now. So first I will grab something pretty obvious like company, click this icon here. I'll click address, and I'll get the rest of the fields here in a minute. So these are the fields I want. In this case, the vendor services field is custom for this site because in this case I'm going to present, I want to see on the map the services these vendors provide. And before I get to the next step, I'm going to show something a little unusual. I'm going to grab a field called the unique ID. And what this does is this will be handy later because let's say one of my vendors changes their street address. Google My Maps will allow me to update existing records based on a field like unique ID so I do not plot duplicate records in future uploads. The next decision is to figure out which contacts I want to export. I could either take the current lookup, but I'm going to do something different. In this case, I want to select the criteria here on which contacts I want to get out of WiredContact. For this example, I'm going to look for all my vendors. In this site, they are sorted by record type equals vendor. And I'm just going to look for the state of Florida. So I'll go here, state equals Florida. You can sort by company if you wish. And before we go there, let's make this a file name that's easy to find later. In this case, I'm going to call it Florida vendors.csv. Now that I have everything ready, I will hit Request Report. And I'll hit Open. And there's our contacts. Before we get into Google My Maps, I'm compelled to show you something that's pretty slick in WiredContact. Which I'm going to close this file. I'm going to show you where that report lives if you need to retrieve it later. Go to Libraries, go to Reports, And you will see by the date and timestamp, this is the latest file. If you need to open it again, click the upward arrow. So that's cool if you lost the file in your downloads folder later on. But there's another cool thing you can do with WiredContact that's kind of a hidden feature or hidden gem. Look over here at My Report Templates. If you click this icon, this is the report we just created, click this magnifying glass. It saves everything we did. So you got the export, these are the fields, the criteria, the sort, and the file name. I'm going to save this into something a little more memorable. Click outside the box, and it saves the file name. So that's great if it's just for you. If you wanted to share this template among your crew, what you can do is there's another feature here called the library. Now you may have different folders here. This is just our site, but if you go to public, start here, create a folder. I'm going to call this one Report Templates. Hit update. And what you can do is take this template, click Move, open up the library. You will see Report Templates. Now click this right arrow here, this little arrow. And it actually copies it, not necessarily moves. So if I go back up to Report Templates, we have this. So this template is available for other users. So if I logged in as somebody else, they go up to the main library, look here, and they'll click on Move, and then they'll move it to their local My Report Templates folder. So I know I went off the Google My Maps lesson a little bit, but I believe this is really important to learn how to use this feature in WiredContact so you can share these features among your peers and make it easier to use WiredContact. Okay, let's get into Google My Maps. To use Google My Maps, sign in with your Google account, then go to mymaps.google.com. Then click Create a new map. Let's make a name. All right, now that we have a map, I'm going to add my first layer. So I'm going to import our CSV file that we created a moment ago. There's Florida vendors. We'll hit open. The first screen shows you which fields you need to select to plot the data point. Since WiredContact doesn't have the latitude and longitude by default, what I do here is grab the address, city, state, and zip. We'll hit continue. Now what I want to do is show the main piece of data here. This is like the main marker. So I want to see the company first when I plot the data point. Now I'll hit finish. And if we zoom in, we're starting to see all our vendors. And what you can do, which is kind of cool, if you had errors in your data, you can hit open data table and, hey, some data in our sample set didn't quite have a street address, so it ain't going to bring those in. If you wish, you can go back and update these fields later if you wish. You can update them in the map, or if you went back to WiredContact, you can import them, and since you know the unique ID, it will just update that existing record with the latest data. All right, I'm going to show maybe a couple more slick little features here. I'll go here, and I'm going to rename this to WiredContact sample. And one more thing I can show is if I click this, You can group things by the vendor services and change the label. So now if I look at down here, you can see some of the contacts have paving on there, but I probably just do company. Click outside there, and now you can see the services category now has unique colors on the map. So you notice in this case, this is just a standard repair. This guy here is both an asphalt and a concrete repair service. So there you have it. There are probably some more advanced features we can get into with Google My Maps, but I basically wanted to show how to get that data up here. So this is a basic overview of how to get some data in. But before we proceed, I'll show one pretty interesting feature. If I click this, I can just take a little map and take this and figure out how far it is to go from point A to point B. So in this case, if I have the Walgreens I need to repair in Port St. Lucie, but my vendor's over here, I already know it's like a quick 47-mile jaunt. It's probably not worth for the contractor to come all the way up to Port St. Lucie to fix my problem. Okay, that is the end of this section. In this bonus section, I'm going to upload some updates. Notice that these two rows weren't able to be plotted because of the bad address. So I went back in the WiredContact, made some updates, and I'm going to try to update those two records with proper data. So I'm going to go Options, Re-import, Update Matching Items, and I created a update file here using the same techniques I used a few moments ago. And in this case, select the column to match places. So I want to hit unique ID on both sides because what I wanted to do is just update based on unique ID. Then I truly know that those records are unique in both places. So I'll hit finish. Ta-da! The error has gone away. And now, check out this location in Fort Myers. This vendor has been properly updated. So that ends the lesson here on using WiredContact and Google My Maps together. Brought to you by MondoCRM. We facilitate insight.